So what you said is absolutely, I think, the pivoting point of anybody who is either learning or understands what it means to learn. That if we all made it simpler, we would all communicate a ton more than what we do. Take employer with employees that don't speak perfect English. In this country, we have a lot of Hispanic people. They may not be speaking perfect English. And sometimes I think if their employers were more sensitive and more aware of what these people are going through, they would get a ton more information going back and forth versus just be yourself. Speak fast, speak as you used to speak, and they don't understand.
Absolutely.
You
If AI feels overwhelming, you're not behind. You're just busy running a business. New tools pop up every week, and no one has time to figure out what actually works. At Lion Edge AI, we take AI off your plate so you can focus on running your business. We review your setup, choose the right tools, and run AI systems across sales, customer support, and operations. No noise, no learning curve. Lion Edge AI, your unfair advantage in the AI era.
Imagine learning a language differently, not through textbook, but through real conversation that spark emotion. Meet Chiara Maggia, a passionate language school founder. She believes mistakes are powerful and focuses on what truly matters to each student. This approach transforms language learning into a deeply human experience. Curious how this approach challenges traditional method and shapes the future of languages education in the AI era? Tune in to find out. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, I'm hosting Chiara Maggia, and
Hi.
I'd like to start by greeting you good morning, Boker Tov, Buenos Dias, Buongiorno, Bonjour, Sabah el Khair. Why?
Buongiorno.
Why did I do that? I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your company.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be able to share what I do and our mission with the audience. So my name is Chiara Maggia, yes, and I'm Italian. Been living in the US for now 10 years, and I have a language school. So what you did is just right. You said you said good morning, you said buongiorno in different languages, and that's what we do. Yes, we want to spread the passion and love for learning languages and educate the community about what it really means and to learn a language. What does it entail? And why would anybody want to choose to learn a language?
Mhm, mhm. So, um, let me see if I understand right. So, you have a school, it's an online school, right? It's online.
We have both online and in person. So I'm personally physically based in Richmond, Virginia. And this is where we have a few in person classes because believe it or not, many people still like to meet in person. However, yes, the majority of our customers are online. And I think this is a little bit of the future, right? Now you can join a school anywhere. Um, Yes, we started a few years ago through COVID. That's when we shifted from in person to online for the most. And we have a very specific approach, a different approach to learning a language that is actually, speaking of AI, also pretty it's becoming more popular, which is talking. You need to talk to be able to speak. You need to practice, right? You learn by doing, like you learn to cook or you learn to ride a bike. If you don't do it, you're not going to learn, and if you make mistakes, that's exactly how things are going to stick in your brain. So we have a very conversation based uh, class that is still guided by a teacher that is going to explain the why you're doing what you're doing. Like toddlers learn to speak, but they don't really know what they're doing. If you're immersed, you're just gonna, swim or drown. But as adults, We have a lot more emotions involved into anything we do. We don't want to make mistakes. We don't want to look or sound stupid. So the idea of putting yourself out there and and speak wrongly, it's is going to be very intimidating for a lot of people. However, this is what you got to do. So our teachers are going to explain the logic of the language and what you have to do with the words that you learn, but it is still about what do you want to say? Like you wanted to say hello in different languages. I'm pretty sure that by tomorrow you'll remember what you just did. And you might go to bed tonight thinking, oh, that was cool. I felt good doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And this is what it does. It's intimidating beforehand, but it makes you feel really cool in the aftermath. And when you embrace the mistake that you are going to make, and you learn to laugh a little bit about yourself and the mistakes that you make, that's when you become a child again, and that's when you learn a lot more. So we want to teach people to, embrace their child self and do something that it is definitely going to be out of their comfort zone on many, many different levels.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, this is beautiful, and I can tell you, it's there is something about speaking other language that makes you feel good about yourself. And I don't know how to explain it. But and especially in the world that we're living today, where there's a high chance that your neighbors are speaking different languages, almost anywhere in the world, because people traveling and migrating right from country to country. So the chances that you hear other languages than your mother language, right? Other than your mother language is very high, right? And then if you understand what's going on, or if you can even participate, there's something very satisfying about that, which I don't know from the psychology aspect how to explain it, but uh,
it is an absolute truth. You do feel special. You do feel a little bit like a superhero because you're doing something that was not at reach beforehand. But I think it goes even beyond. It's not just about possibly understanding your neighbor. If my neighbor is from Palestine, I'm probably never going to understand them anyways, but is understanding the struggle and the effort that people make around us. Because the majority of people who have not been exposed to a second language are not going to know what it means to learn a second language. And and I think it's very human when you face that struggle. It's humbling in a way. And then you meet somebody who's doing their best to communicate with you to whatever extent they can. It makes you more human, more connected to the world, more open and understanding also. It's easy not to be. Everybody rushing every day. Everybody wants to speak fast. It's funny when somebody speaks their mother tongue, they speak fast. We all speak fast in our native language, but we don't realize that we speak fast because people are used to understand us. But when we finally learn a language, what we do is keep asking, "Oh, can you repeat, please? Please, slow, please." And when you learn a language, then it brings you back down to earth. That when you talk to somebody who's struggling speaking your language, you immediately go slow. You embrace. Um, it's very human. I just love what it does on both sides. Makes you feel great, yes, but it also helps you understand the other
yeah,
side.
no,
Like you said, we have so
absolutely.
many people.
You know, when I think about my personal experience, um, traveling, I travel a lot in different places of the world, and when I am able to make the connection with the other side, not struggling of him understanding my, because usually it's if they don't understand my English, right? If it's English, no problem, right? If both sides know English, that's not a problem. But if the other side is a non-English, in my case, right? Um, then I find myself that I need to, I don't know what's the right word, but I need to downward downgrade my English to the level that they understand. I don't want to use like, uh, um,
Difficult
big
words.
words, high language, because they want. So I'm downing, and then and then I don't feel so good about it. Like I don't want to do that. I want to, I don't want him also to feel that I'm, you know, trying to. I mean,
Yeah, you feel that that the other person, you're almost diminishing
yes,
the level of English they can have, but at the same time, this is exactly what we should do. And when you learn a language, I come through this every day with people that are learning Spanish or German or French, and they are thinking a sentence in English. And in the beginning of the learning, I often say, tell me what you're thinking so I know where you're going. And then you can take your time saying it, but you have to learn to come around. There are words that you're not going to be able to say and structures that you're not going to be able to make. So what you have to learn to do is simplify. So what you said is absolutely crucial. You have to make it easy. And I always say that there's three levels of speaking. There is the child 4 or 5 year old level of speaking. There is the middle high school level of speaking and the adult level of speaking. And when I came to this country and people speak to me with the adult level of speaking, or I read a document which is written in the adult level of speaking, I feel stupid because English is not my native language. Why am I not understanding what I'm reading? Why does it have to be so complicated? So I tell people if you can think simpler, you can you can achieve success in another language much faster because you can simplify your English version. Even the word achieve. Okay, achieve. How do I say achieve? Don't get stuck in difficult words. How would you explain this to a kid
yeah,
who doesn't know what achieve means? So what you said is absolutely, I think, the pivoting point of anybody who is either learning or understands what it means to learn. That if we all made it simpler, we would all communicate a ton more than what we do. Take employer with employees that don't speak perfect English. In this country, we have a lot of Hispanic people. They may not be speaking perfect English. And sometimes I think if their employers were more sensitive and more aware of what these people are going through, they would get a ton more information going back and forth versus just be yourself. Speak fast, speak as you used to speak, and they don't understand.
absolutely,
You can't. You have to be aware of what you're
Abso-
doing
ab-
in communicating.
absolutely, and especially and I so relate to what you said, and especially you see it in the more bigger countries and modern countries. All right, I would say this too, that um, if you have never experienced the challenges of speaking in other language, then it's hard for you to understand the other side. And in many, and not in many, but in those countries that they are big enough, like the US, all right, that you can manage 100% perfectly fine with only knowing English, right? You don't need even to travel the world. You can travel just within the US. There's enough to see. You don't, so you don't get the experience. And some people I know some people I like that. They're good enough where they are, and so you don't even get to experience and understand that what does it mean to be in a country that doesn't speak your language, and
Right.
how you being perceived, how you how challenging it is for you to get communication from others. And communication, we all know, it's the basic need between
It
humans.
is.
So absolutely right. And you mentioned emotion, and I'm gonna circle around it because we're also gonna talk about AI, and I have several questions that we're gonna circle around emotions because I think you touch a very important point. Um, I would, you know, let's talk about the AI for a second. Let's shift a little bit because AI changes everything in our life, right? Ever since it was introduced to humankind, we see it every. In fact, in our industry, we say that every 3 months every 3 months, there is a whole new set of progress and tools that weren't exist 3 months ago. Now, one of the things that AI is lacking yet, I think, but is lacking is emotions.
The
And
human
what I want to
side.
ask you is a very provocative question. Why? And I'm doing it, and you know my stance, but I'm still gonna ask it. Why wouldn't someone, open ChatGPT and ask it, "Hey, teach me Italian"? We know it can do that. Like you can talk to it, and I don't know what's the quality would be of the learning.
I can tell you what the quality is because I've had several customers that did it and they say that it's still unreliable. You don't get the correct feedback, um, which I can understand, but I don't think we're very far away from being reliable. Um, and I would go back to telling you that learning a language is not math. You need the human connection and you need the emotions involved with the learning. It is a growing experience. It's not a technical experience. It's an emotional experience. And when you find yourself, let's say you learn, you're going to do it. You open AI, say, teach me Italian, and you're going to get by, right? I mean, you can get some results and you get something in and you feel like you're learning, right? Now I'm going to be provocative towards you.
Yeah,
You feel like you are
yeah,
learning and you feel pretty cool. Look, I don't need to pay anybody. Look at me. I'm learning. By the way, I'm going to go to Rome this June and for first time vacation, I'm going to be rocking, man. I feel like it's going to happen this time. And then you land and you find yourself calling a taxi. You enter the taxi and you have to speak. And I can tell you that that moment is when 9 people out of 10 crash. You have to be an absolute outgoing, brave person to hide how much you're going to be freaking out in that moment because you can say what you know you will say, but you cannot control what the other person is
yes,
going to tell you, how they're going to tell you, accent wise, speed wise, a choice of vocabulary. So getting exposed to different people, different sounds, different accents is what is going to make the difference. I even tell my students, okay, you can talk to me. And after a year of classes, they tell me, I don't think I'm going to talk to anybody else. I just want to talk to you. So going back to that emotional experience. So in my company, I decided to open up free conversation clubs to people that are our students for that reason. I want you to sit around the table talking about something that is new with new people. And I promise you're going to feel uncomfortable. Everybody says, but I'm afraid. It's the most frequent comment. If you work with AI, you're never going to be afraid.
right.
And that is what makes a
Yeah,
difference.
right. So that I think what you mentioned is, if I understand correctly, you are creating a safe space, or you're holding this safe space for your student to be able to really practice the closest that they can get when they're going to be out in the field, in the real world, right? Whenever, whatever the case might be, uh, to exercise their language. It's even though it's still scary because you talk to other people. It's not my teacher, and I might be afraid of what they're going to think about me. But it's still safe because we are all students. We are all here to
It
learn.
is safe, but one of the skills that we want the students to have is exactly the ability to control the speaker because you cannot control who's in front of you. And you might have mad people. You can be in front of an accident having to call 911. You're going to have so many different situations that can be highly emotional. You cannot control that. So we do teach our students how do I tell my my speaker that that's what I get. I don't understand what you're saying. You're speaking too fast. I don't know the word for this. What we call circumlocution. You can say something in one way. It's basically the game of taboo, right? Maybe many people know. It's not easy. It's an age 8 and up, I think, game because it takes brain to be able to go around the concept when you don't know how to explain the concept. So that is that's what we do a lot. We teach you to show what you don't understand, manage what you don't understand, and manage how to say it when you're going to be stuck, because you will be stuck. There's no way you can be totally fluent before you travel. And you don't have to travel. Not everybody has that purpose. But this, going back to what we said before, the human growth that you get out of learning a language is just the understanding so much of the world, of humanity. I think everybody should get exposed to that, and not at a middle school, high school level. They don't care. That's a subject. Is not a human experience. But you can make it a very human experience, and it can be an extremely rewarding one.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned again emotions, and I think one of the um, practices that I learned from you in our previous call is that one of the method that you help your students to learn the language is that you let them choose and deal with subject and emotions that they are feel that they have an interest in. So by doing so,
Yes.
right? By doing so, and I would like to hear more from you, and maybe you can even provide some samples from real cases, how students choose a subject, or if they want to express emotion of something that's close to their heart, and that's the motivation for them to learn how to do it in the other
Mm-hmm.
language.
Mm-hmm. So we don't use books, and this is the first key. And some people are confused. If I don't have a book, where am I going? I like the pages and the chapters. I know where I'm going. But we as teachers know what you will need to learn, and toddlers don't have books. And how do toddlers learn a language? By need, right? They're going to have a need. They need to go to the bathroom, they need food, they need to sleep, but they can speak, so they will start communicating based on their needs. And that's what we do. We want to connect to people based on what they like, their passions, what's close to their heart, like you said, needs and emotions wise. And one example, well, it's not just one example, but for all of our students, is family. Everybody has an emotional connection to where they come from, so their parents or their spouse or their children being a biggie. If somebody has children, take a mom, but even dads, every parent is super mega proud of their kids always. So just want to ask them questions about their kids. They will want to share. God, they will want to share. So we don't give you list of words, vocabulary that we want you to use. We do the opposite. We're going to ask you questions. Do you have kids? And you want to say, yes, yes, I have three. And
You want to
yes.
talk
And
about
you
them?
immediately the smile and,
Exactly.
oh yeah, I do have
Yeah.
kids actually. And they drive me crazy, but I love them so much. And that's how we connect. So what do you want to say? Is we get people asking us, how do you say this? How do you say this? How do you say this? We build a vocabulary that weekly is between 15 and 20 new words a week. You study your vocabulary, we give you the grammar, you put it together, and every week our conversation is going to become a little bit bigger. But we can talk about your family, we can talk about your hobbies.
Yeah.
You may love golf or tennis. We can talk about your job. It can be a negative emotional experience. Some people go through rough patches
It's
and
still an
they like
emotion,
to talk.
right?
And you will remember, if you can make an emotional connection, especially in language, with what you need to express, when you go back and study and practice, you will recognize those words. Because you asked me how to say this, you will remember that conversation. But most of all, you are the main actor of the class, is not me. I'm here to provoke you and make you talk. I'm not here to tell you what to say. And the same way as a toddler learns, you will be more curious, more open, and you will make a mistake, and I will explain to you. Choose your battles like a kid. You're not going to speak perfect from day two. It doesn't work that way. But the verbs have to be right. You have to use the right conjugations. Let's focus on the verbs, and then if you miss half of the prepositions, that's perfectly fine. It's called broken English. Can I get through? Yes. People will understand, people will respond, you're going to feel good about it. It's enough. And then you refine the language as you go. So we use a very natural way, things that you want to go outside and say. If you learn for work, well, you're going to have specific needs. I talk about this with my customers. These are the questions that I usually ask. I have a company in France, and when I go to France, I need to get a taxi, book a hotel, and schedule a restaurant, a meeting, something. So we will work on what your needs are. This is what brings the language really to life, concrete usage that you can go out and use it
Yeah,
right
yeah,
away.
yeah. So it's a practical English. I'm sorry, a language um, learning,
Approach.
yeah, approach versus theory. Like, I tell you what, back in my days when I was a kid and we learned second language, it was definitely not a practical approach. It was very much book, open the book, repetitive, and it's a shame because some of those languages I can't use them anymore. That I we learned.
Right. Right. Yeah. But that the same was for me. I learned English for 6 years in Italy before coming here as an exchange student. And when I got here, I understood nothing because understanding is so difficult. And if you don't speak, you don't listen. And sometimes you don't get exposed to, like we said before, different accents, different people. You speak to foreigners, they're going to have a difficult. There are Americans that don't understand foreigners, um, because they're not used to that accent. Even if we're all speaking English, they still get stuck. There's so many shades in the language. But that I also understand that in school, a teacher has to deal with 25 kids, right? They have to go through a specific curriculum, and getting the kids to speak is not going to be easy. So I would never judge it, the way the teacher works, because a bigger environment is different. We work with very small groups, 4 to 6 people, for this reason. It has to be small and cozy. But I can tell you that when we tutor school kids who don't speak in school and they come to us and we push the conversation, they love it. There is not a single teenager, and they come here and they say, I hate Spanish. I don't understand it. It's not fun. And then they start speaking, what do you do? What sport do you do? And they all have a passion, and you start speaking, it feels so good. They all love it. So it's a little bit, it's sad that it's not a thing
Yeah,
to learn in a more conversational way, because the reward is basically instantaneous. We have our demo class. It's a demonstration class that we give to people to show what we do. And there's not a single person that is not going to walk out at the end and say, this is unbelievable. And I was speaking, and it's been 1 hour, and I knew nothing before coming in. So the method works, the system works, and the rewarding is
I
immediate.
love it. I love the demo one. I actually want to participate in one, so I wouldn't mind if you invite me to one. I think it's a great idea to open your um, front window to others who wants to see what it's all about and what's the experience is like. What should I expect? And yeah, come, join us as a observer, and you can learn a lot.
Oh, there is no observer. There's no
So you have to
observer. You
participate.
join,
You have
you join, you participate. Yeah, the demo class is really just for people to experience it,
got
but to experience it, you have to put yourself out there. If you observe, you're not going to feel it. And that go back to AI. You need to feel it.
that's
If you don't
right.
feel,
And which is a great segue to my next topic that you mentioned. It's not. You're absolutely right. And this is what we're seeing in the industry, and we're gonna talk more about this. AI has an impact whatever we do, But there are some things, especially when it comes to human connection, that's I'm sorry, the AI is not a human to human connection, and that's where we can shine. That's where we differentiate between, because we know the model is going to be better and better, but it's still, you can't replace a human to human connection and the guidance that you provide. So um, I just want to mention one thing that what you said, and that I really it's really resonate with me is you know the, the times I need a language the most, like speaking other language that I am not familiar with, is where my emotions are high. Whether maybe I'm pissed because of a situation, maybe I'm actually maybe it's a joy moment, and you want to express this to the other side, and if you don't have the words, for me, my personal experience is that the first thing you get frustrated because you feel stupid, right? Because
Yeah, I
if
agree.
it was your own language, that that your mother tongue language, no problem. I can express myself and share with you what I feel, whether I'm mad or happy. But eh, eh, bu- but if you can't use those words, then you feel very like dumb. Seriously, like
You feel limited.
and limited
Yeah.
because it doesn't get out. And but then the second thing after the shock, the frustration comes, at least in my case, the motivation. All right. So if next time something like that happens, I want to be able and capable to express myself. And so I want to learn, and I want to use the right verbs and the right vocabulary, right, to express what I'm feeling. And again, this is back to the emotion and feeling that you mentioned, that I find it very interesting. All right. Um, I want to ask you again. It's not really provocative, but I want to get your opinion. Um, One of the impact of AI, and we start seeing this more and more, is a real time translation. So we're gonna see more and more in the market glasses, like the right with translation. Apple now, if you put their headphones, you can see translation real time on your phone. What do you think? Do you think that kind of technology, right? That AI can, thanks to AI, we have it now. Real time translation between people. Would that prevent people from or demotivate people from learning a new language? Because learning, you need to put efforts, right? Money and effort to learn. Or you just say, I don't care. I'll go travel this country, and if I need something, I talk to the phone, and or whatever the case might be, and show them what I want.
Hmm. I
Is
love the question. First, let me tell you that I'm a big AI supporter. So just so you know my perspective, I am not against it by far. I think it can help a lot. We don't yet see where this is going, the extent of it. So hopefully it's not going to cut too many jobs for which we're going to have a job problem in the future. But for now, I do think it can maximize and really help in a lot of situations, business wise. And I have a business before, speaking the language. So I see both options. But when it comes to learning a language, no, I don't think it will impact that much. And the reason being, I think people have passions of different kinds. You may be completely in love with golf or with animals or with movies and music. You have your passions. People that love languages are going to be linguists no matter what. I talk very often to people that love languages, and the inner passion that we have is a pure fascination towards linguistics um, that stays. Whether or not you learn a language, you're going to be curious about what it means and how it feels. So I think that there's going to be a good chunk of the population that is, despite having the instant translation, will want to learn a language. I love to travel. I'm going to go to Japan this summer. Am I going to learn Japanese just because I'm traveling? No, because it's not going to happen in a few months and because I don't have right now the energy to do it. So, am I going to use AI for that purpose? Absolutely. And it's going to serve my purpose. But that is not taking away the fact that I'm still learning Portuguese. Why am I doing it? Want to go to Brazil? No, I haven't even thought about going to Brazil. I'm doing it just because.
Yes.
So, you're going to love the sound of a language. For example, I do love the sound of Hebrew. I love the sound of Greek. Um, and I don't love the sound of other languages. So you're going to be more attracted to something like people that want to learn to knit or to cook. Um, it's a passion. You're going to do it for yourself. So if people tell me I'm not going to travel outside the US, why do I need to learn a language? You don't need to. It's not about the need. It's about the personal growth that is going to bring with it, and it's about doing something for yourself that makes you feel good and it's fun. And this is what I get the most from people. You know what? This is the best hour of my week. I'm looking forward to this. It's fun. I feel good. This is what we want.
Yeah.
On top of that, and this is what we would like to do, is educating the population on why would you do it. There is that whole prevention world when it comes to getting older and getting dementia. The brain is a muscle, just like the heart is, and every other part of our body. So if you go to the gym and you don't even like it, and you go to the gym, you complain, you hate going, but you still go, why do you do it? I do it because I need it. I feel to be healthy. I need to stay strong so that when I get to 85 or 90, I don't need a walker. I can still walk with my legs and be healthy. The same is worth for your brain. If you don't train your brain, doesn't have to be language. You can do Sudoku all your life. But if you do tickle your brain in different ways, can be mathematical, artistic, learn a musical instrument, learn language is amazing because learning a language really uses all parts of the brain, and the memory and the logic. Um, you are going to prevent Alzheimer, dementia, and it's scientifically proven that bilingual people have less chances of getting dementia. I speak 6 languages. I don't think I ever will get dementia. And if I do, I'm going to sue whoever did this scientific research. But you do it for yourself. It is an investment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is more fun than doing it with AI. It's more fun to be with people and do it in person. Um, but you will be happy one day if you're older. If you're younger, it's much easier to find a job if you speak 2 languages. You are going to be hired sooner. You're going to be offered more money. It is a fact that being bilingual or trilingual, and the more languages you learn, the easier it's going to be to learn them. Start young, be smart. It's an investment that you make on your life. That's what I traveled when I was younger. My father told me, learn languages. Whatever you do in life with languages, you'll be okay. I ended up making this my job, but it wasn't the plan. But I can tell you that every job I had, interviews, people see on the resume, oh, you speak 5 languages. Still didn't had not learned my sixth at the time. When can you start? I don't even care about your experience. I'm going to teach you the job,
Yes.
but you can speak 5 languages. You become better problem solver. You parallel thinker, critical thinker is just developed so much of you.
I can't agree more. And I think you hit the net. I mean, you said so many things that I want to refer to now. There's a lot, and I'm gonna refer. I wrote down some of them, but I want I think I 100% agree with you. Um, wh- wh- even if the job doesn't really require multi-language, even when you see on someone's resume that they can speak multiple language, so that either they put the time. I mean, it tells something a lot, even in your subconscious. It tells something for
Yes.
you about this person, that what, even for just this extra credit point that it gives you, compared to other candidates, let's say in the case of job interview, that's another thing. And And for me, as you know, I hired a lot of people during my career. It's definitely, I see that as an advantage, because exactly like you said, it tells me a lot about this person. They can think in parallel, because talking someone who really talks multiple language can think in multiple language. And I didn't realize that until I made the move, because I also came to the US from other country. And it's the same thing. You get to talk the language only once you start thinking also.
That is
And
true.
some people
Yeah.
say dreaming also.
Is your
Yes,
subconscious. Yeah.
because then it's not you're moving from translating your language to the new language to think in the new language, and then the sentences, and it's all, everything comes out much more natural, right? And
Exactly.
so when you see someone who can do that right away, it's like in a game, ding ding ding, he gets the point of higher points and so on. So I really like what you said. Very interesting. I wanted to be a little bit more optimistic and not provocative, and I want to ask you about the following. you know so as we said, AI, and I'm happy to hear that you are embracing it and not seeing as a threat. And I tell you um why I agree with you, because one of the things that is very common now in our industry to think is that people gonna have more time, more free time. Now, all right. Now, yes, there is a real problem that governments will have to deal with. They have no choice. If that people needs to make a living somehow, right? If they're going to be replaced by AI. So that's not a secret anymore. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody understand. But on the other hand, so I mean, the government will have to find a solution, right? Whatever the solution might be. But then on the other hand, there's a also this acceptance or agreement or assumption that people will have more free time. And then what are they going to do with this free time? Because now I have AI does all the repetitive tasks, all the manual tasks for me. So you need less of my time. And we're going to see it, I think, very soon. We're going to see shorter work weeks, and, depending on the industry. But then if I have more time, I think people will start, going back to their old wishful thinking.
Wish list. The wish
Wish
list.
list, exactly. And I think learning new languages is at the it's for a lot of people is at the top 5. Like you mentioned Portuguese. I don't know why I want to learn. I love this language so much, and I want to learn it. Although I don't have any plans to move into a country that speak. That's not the reason. It's just that when I see movies, when I hear people, the language sounds so, at least for me, very nice. And so, what do you think about that? I mean, do you see your school actually thriving because people will have more time and they reach out to you?
Well, I hope we're gonna be thriving no matter what. Um, I do think that, like is we said, people have passions, and there are many people that have that. Would I want to learn a language? I'm finally gonna get to do it. What I think is scary to people, even if they had the time to do it, is how long is it going to take? Because everybody knows that learning a language is, and that's why if you see it in a resume, you know that somebody who has done it has put into discipline and consistency, effort. So, but that's like with everything. You want to learn tennis? Oh, no, no, no. You're going to be so frustrated for a bunch of time that you're going to hit that ball. It's going to go everywhere, but not where you want it to be. So I do think it's the same, but people have this idea that learning a language, whatever, if I start, it's the never ending story. Because how long will it take me to get fluent? What does it even mean to be fluent? We both have been speaking English for a certain amount of years. Are we done learning? No, every time I read an English book, I'm learning new words and I realize, or I hear new idioms. I'm like, I've never heard this before. That's interesting. So you're never really dumb. Um, so I want to give people a time frame. I think that learning a language deserves 2 to 3 years of your life. You could do more. And I've seen people that once they reach a level they're satisfied with, they start a new language because you may do it just for fun, not because you want to be perfect at it. So you can keep going. But this is what I think is going to be still the question mark. I have more time. I have money to dedicate to this passion of mine. But what are you telling me? How long do I have to spend this money for? And the truth is, it really depends if you work alone, if you work with a group, how fast of a learner you are. But I do think couple of years is reasonable to say. Our customers usually stay with us 3 years before going. And that is just the question mark. But you start, you see, you learn if you enjoy it, if you don't enjoy it, how fast you're learning, and is that serving your purpose? Is that making you feel good? Because either way, you're gonna grow from a human point of view. Either way, you're gonna train your brain to something new. Either way, you're gonna become a better person, even humanly speaking. So it's not just the language. You're doing it for a bunch of reasons. And yeah, it does take
Yeah.
a minute. But if you start learning, the piano is gonna take just as much. So I do think that's an opportunity that AI is gonna give us, 100%. In how long? In how long do you think people are gonna start having more time because they're gonna embrace AI to that point that they're gonna have less of a workload? This I don't know. You are the
I
expert here.
Yeah, I think sooner than you might think. Sooner. I'm not saying tomorrow, but very soon. And again, it depends on the industry. Every industry has its impact differently. But and the tools are that they are in the making right now. It depends when they're going to be released, but I think sooner than what most people think.
Mhm.
What's nice with my discussion with you is every time when I want to ask you about the next question, you already say something that a great segue, like you read my mind. And so my next question for you, we are both business owners, and we both want our business to grow and thrive, right? And now with AI, there's definitely a lot of opportunities that it can help us. So, for example, one of the question I have for you: how do you see AI, as an example, helping you in growing your exposure, in growing, basically to have more students? Because, um, okay, I'll say it this way: I know that you want to take new clients, that's for sure, but you also want to do it in a way that you still serve them and give them high quality service, that you still have. And I see that you're hiring, by the way, if anyone sees that. I saw on your LinkedIn, if I'm not mistaken.
Italian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That, because you want to find those good teachers. But how do you, uh, what's your thought about using AI to help you with growing and getting more customers and opening more classes?
Yes. So I'm almost 50. So
I thought 21.
I'm trying.
No, I want to say 21, but well,
Yeah, right. Yeah. 21 plus something. Um, so I think that for the people our age, other than you being m- personally directly involved with AI, for me, it's a revolution that is going faster than I can follow. There are opportunities out there that I don't know about, and I'm very aware. And I do think that we need to educate ourselves on what the opportunity is. How do we do that is still a question mark for me. So I am integrating AIs already in my everyday job, not to find new customers, but to make my daily workload lower. I'm already doing that. Uh, am I using AI to the full extent of it? Absolutely not. I'm positive that I'm not. How, where do I learn about it? Um, it's a little bit of where I'm at. And like you said, it's evolving quickly. So I do think that I need to get my hands into what are the options and what am I going to embrace and use and make mine that make sense for my business. Um, so in that sense, I do see myself using it more because in the last year, I've noticed the benefit in my daily task of using AI has diminished the amount of time that I'm putting into things tremendously. Um, yes, growing is an option, but like you said, it's not just about uh, guaranteeing quality, it's also about guaranteeing balance. I have a certain amount of teachers, I can accept a certain amount of clients. Now I'm looking for a new teacher because I have the demand for a new teacher. But if I get too many customers and I cannot serve them, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So they're lost
Yeah.
customers. So for me, it's all about balance, how many customers, how many teachers, and the marketing that I'm doing and what I'm looking for. But, I've heard about AI possibly managing the outreach of leads and making a follow up on them. Do I believe that the follow up can be personal and emotional? No. But do I have the power to make every follow up personal and emotional? No. Sometimes it's just an email and people don't know me and they can easily ignore an email. So I do want to learn more. And I think a year ago, it wasn't like today. How many people used AI to what extent a year ago? How many people use AI today to what extent? My husband's company is not giving employees the AI training I believe they should already have. So are bigger companies even, I'm a small, tiny company, are even bigger companies understanding that this is a continuous training that they need to give, and this means investment in to a certain extent. The possibilities are very big. I'm excited and threatened by it. Not threatened from a work perspective, but from a knowledge perspective. I have to learn a whole new world and I have to learn how to manage it. And maybe a year from now, it's going to be changed again. Do I have to learn it again? It's like going from a flip phone to a smartphone. So mm, I'm smart. I think I can do it. But it's tiring just thinking about it. If AI didn't exist, I wouldn't have to learn something new and start over. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Just for the records and for our audience to know, we didn't script any of this. And by the way,
No, we did not.
exactly, all of my shows are never scripted. It's all spontaneous. Then that's how I like to do it. I like to speak with my guests and run the discussion. Um, but I got to tell you, there's something about you that you read my minds because what you just said is exactly what my next topic is. So it's always a great segue. I from talking with leaders like you and business owners in our ed tech industry, I sense the same problem again and again, or the same phenomenon. On one hand, everybody understand the benefit because they hear about it everywhere, right? But then on one hand, but then on the other hand, they are not sure exactly what to do. And on top of that, things are getting changed. I'm telling you, even for me, where I live this day in and day out, I'm investing a lot to keep on track and to keep using those cutting edge technologies because the tools that are being released almost every week from the various companies, the big the leaders, the Googles, the ChatGPT, Claude, and many others, they are working very hard and they are competing. So they are releasing new stuff which we benefit from those tools, and it's hard to keep up. And what we do in my company is exactly for busy business owners like you, that you need to focus on getting the right teachers, making sure that the curriculum is right, making sure that all your students are not no one is behind, that they are making progress, and if someone needs extra help, I'm sure that you have a lot. And on top of that, you still need to make sure your marketing is going well, and that the
Mhm.
funnel of new students are coming. And that's where we step in and help those businesses to run AI tools. And let me tell you something, Chiara, you will be surprised. What you knew about AI a month ago is already irrelevant, because now
Yeah.
yeah,
I believe it.
and with the right settings and with the right product matching, um, business owners can release themselves from the task that they are either not expert or taking a lot of time, and let AI do it for them in top notch quality, like you
Mhm.
won't believe. So this is great, and I swear we didn't script anything here. This is beautiful. Um, I think we got to the top of the hour. I had a lot of fun, Chiara, not just knowing
Me too.
you, but also learn from you and everything that you shared with us in this show. And I want to, well, I didn't prepare myself how to say goodbye in the in the various language. So why
Oh,
would
there
you
we
do that
go.
for us?
I can do it.
Yeah,
I can do the goodbye portion. You did the
yeah.
hello portion. So I'm going to say first, thank you so much for having me. It was a true pleasure being able to share my perspective. And then we can say goodbye. That's English. Arrivederci. Au revoir. Adios. Mm,
And I will,
auf Wiedersehen.
yeah.
Auf Wiedersehen. And ciao, ciao. It's
Ciao, ciao.
Portuguese.
I like the ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Thank you.
If AI feels overwhelming, you're not behind. You're just busy running a business. New tools pop up every week, and no one has time to figure out what actually works. At Lion Edge AI, we take AI off your plate so you can focus on running your business. We review your setup, choose the right tools, and run AI systems across sales, customer support, and operations. No noise, no learning curve. Lion Edge AI, your unfair advantage in the AI era.